So here's a short sequence we can practice for lengthening the front of the body, for working with the stomach energy line. Remember, the stomach energy line runs from the bottom of the eyes, down the front of the face, front of the neck, down the front of the chest, all the way down the front of the belly, front of the thighs, front of the legs, all the way down to the feet. So we're really working with the whole front surface of the body. So we start feet hip width apart, take the right hand up towards the ceiling. Have a nice lengthen here, and then when you're ready, we're going to let it fall forwards. Swing around behind, come up to face the ceiling. Look up, reach upwards, come all the way up, and then we're going to bring the elbow and the opposite knee towards each other. So nice and slowly to begin with, find your balance. See if you can send them in opposite directions, reach out. And then we're going to coil our spring one more time. So bring elbow and knee together, and then step back. Two hands come up. Bend the front knee, reaching up towards the ceiling, nice and long through the front of the body, sinking into the front knee. Couple of breaths here. And then when you're ready, going to let the hands float down to the side. Going to lengthen, straighten the front leg here, engaging all the muscles to prevent it from falling into a locked position. Bring the hands around behind. A few options with the hands, either holding the elbows, or we can have the fingertips touching, or you might find you can bring the hands flat together at the back here. So strong front leg, and then keeping the length of the chest as we come forwards. So think about here, one long line between the tail and the crown of your head as you come forwards. You may find that it's a very limited movement forwards until we come into the limit of our stretch. And just comfortable sensing being here for a couple of breaths. So chest nice and open. So when you're ready, you're going to release the hands, bring them onto your leg, and then rounding the back and bring your nose close in towards your leg. I'm going to trace the stomach energy line up with your nose on the front of your thigh. So up, imagining drawing a line up the front of the thigh as you roll all the way up into standing up your hip, up the front of your belly, coming all the way up. Okay, we're going to bend into the front leg, take the hands forwards. Now we're going to really lift up the arms and shift the body weight forwards, and then going to shift forwards to the point where your back foot may want to come up off the floor, but don't worry about whether it does or doesn't. Really think about lifting the arms and lengthening the whole front here. And maybe it does want to come up off the floor, in which case we're focusing on the balance and the lift up through the front of the body. Couple of breaths. Now we're going to place the back foot down a little bit further back from where it was to begin with. Let the hands float down. Make sure you got your alignment and in a comfortable place. Bending into the front knee, and again the hands lift. Going to bring the hands to the back of the head and then lift up into the elbows. So imagine your elbows are trying to lift the ceiling up. Nice deep breath in to lift. And then breathing out, see if you can hold that length. One more time. Breathing in, lift. And then breathing out, we're going to release. Bring the hands down to the ground. And bring the back knee onto the ground as well. Okay, we're going to shift the body weight backwards and come back to sit towards your ankle. Now, you might find that it's tricky to sit right onto your ankle, like this, in which case we want to stay up a little bit higher. You might find you can sit on your ankle, and that's cool. Then your bum is slightly up. We're going to keep our alignment. You might find you can sit just on the side of the ankle and bring the foot out to the side like this and sitting down. Now, we have to be aware, we have to be really careful. We do not want the back foot turning out 90 degrees like this. We want the back foot tucked right underneath as we're here. So one of those options, we're going to start to move our way backwards. Now, if you're right up here in the kneeling position, we want to have the hands around behind on your lower back and start to lengthen and lean backwards here from the knee all the way up to the hip, up to the chest and up to the face. If you're sitting down to the floor, then we're going to again start to move our way backwards. The knee stays flat on the ground and we just move back as far as your body will let you to come. You want to be really lengthening the lower back, press the knee into the floor. Just a couple of breaths here. And then when you're ready, coming all the way up. And then back up into our lunge position. We're going to take this front knee here and bring it onto the floor, just where the foot is, and settle back down here onto the ground. So first of all, flat hands, just nice and low. Let the hips relax. Sinking into here. I'm going to lengthen the front again. So maybe you come up onto fingertips. Maybe we start to rise up looking forwards here. The energy movement is up the front of the body here. So think about this length and lift up through the front, up into the face, all the way up. As you breathe in, lengthening the front. This helps us to avoid compromising our lower back or collapsing into the back of the body. We think about length in the front, just as far as feels good. Couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, breathing out, release out of it. Flat hands, tuck your back toes, stepping back into a downward facing dog. And then we'll walk the feet in just behind the hands, sliding your hands up your legs, coming all the way up. Okay, we'll do that on the other side. So this time the left hand reaches up, and then we let it fall forwards, around and up to the ceiling. We lift upwards, and then we're going to bring elbow and opposite knee towards each other. Get the balance. First of all, just slowly lengthen out, and then we bring them back together, like coiling the spring, and then the spring releases, like this. Step back, medium step, both hands up, bending into the front knee, lift up into the upper arms to reach upwards. Couple of breaths. Good. Letting the hands float down. Going to bring them around behind the body. Straighten the front leg. Make sure it's strong, especially around the knee joint. Bring your hands around the back. So here, this is all about keeping the length in the front of the body as we come forwards. So no rounding in this one. Hands behind the back as you fold forwards. Finding the comfortable, gentle stretch. Holding for a couple of breaths. Hello, leg. How are you? Yep, I can really feel that. Lengthening up the front of the body. Now we're going to release the hands and bring them onto the leg. And now we will round the back and bring your nose in as close as it wants to come to the leg. Here we're drawing the line of the stomach energy line with your tip of your nose. Imagine drawing that line up the front of your leg, up the front of the thigh, up your belly as you roll all the way up into standing. Bend into the front knee. Take the hands up. Now really lift up into the front as you shift the weight forwards into the front leg. Maybe the back leg wants to just gently touch the floor, maybe even lift up off the ground to find the balance. Really lifting, lengthening the front. Couple of breaths here. Good. Placing the back foot onto the floor a little bit further back from what it was before, so slightly longer stance. Sinking into the front knee, lifting up. And then as you breathe out, we'll let the hands come down to the floor. Untuck your back toes and bring the knee down to the ground. And then we'll start to walk our body back as far as you want to come. Now, don't be surprised if one side is going to work differently to the other. Maybe the knee, maybe the ankle says something different to you. We need to adapt and adjust to what your body feels. So either we're up here in this upper kneeling up, kind of leaning backwards, or we're sitting on the ankle, moving backwards, or we've got the foot out to the side and we're sitting on the floor, moving backwards. So whatever you're doing, making sure we've got a long lower back, we're tucking the tail, and we've got the knee down on the ground as we move backwards. Slowly, slowly. Yep, you might find a tiny movement, and we're already in a comfortable stretch. You might find it's further on the elbows, you might find it's all the way down. So when you're ready, we'll make our way back up out of this one. And then we're going to come forward, so into a lunge position. And then taking this front knee here and bringing it down where the foot is. And we'll settle down onto the ground. So hands flat down, just kind of letting things release and relax. Hips softening to the floor. So then we're going to start to lift up the front. So pressing with the hands, maybe fingertips if you need, and start that lengthening up. Maybe slightly looking up. So we don't need to drop the head right open. It's not really a neck opening. It's more of a whole front lengthening all the way up into the eyes. So looking up, breathing here. The energy rising up the front as you breathe in, breathing in. And then breathing out, just noticing, letting it release. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release out of it, let the hands come flat, tuck your back toes, and then stepping back into a downward dog. Here we're going to spend just a moment or two in a down dog, just letting things release, maybe swinging things around or loosening things up, whatever feels good. Before walking the feet in, tucking them in behind the hands, and then sliding the hands up the legs and coming up into standing. Just take a few moments, eyes lowered, maybe closed, sensing and feeling how you are. So there's a short sequence for working with the stomach energy line this harvest time or late summer period of the year.